Come and take a class at the Alteration.
Alright, everybody, welcome to the next episode of Alter Academy. Today, I'm very excited to introduce this very, very special guest. His skills are often compared to Michael Jordan and Tom Brady, and he's considered the greatest Yu-Gi-Oh player of all time. My friend, representing world-class cards, Dale Bellido. Now, Dale, this Alter Academy episode is very special to me because we have known each other for 20 years, and this is, I think, the first time we've actually done anything together game-wise, so thank you very much for joining me today. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself for the viewers at home who may not have heard of you somehow?
Yeah, dude, I'm happy to be here. I don't know how I follow up that intro. I feel like you have the wrong brother, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
I played Yu-Gi-Oh forever since 2003. Stopped mid, I want to say mid or early 2010. So I think around maybe 2010, 2011, I stopped traveling. And then just played locally. And Lorcana came out, and I decided to go a little bit head first into that. Coming back into card games, paper card games after the pandemic felt nice, and I did pretty well for myself with the same color combination throughout.
Yeah.
So
What was that?
yeah,
Chicago, Vegas, Toronto, all in a row?
yeah, Chicago, Vegas, Toronto,
And Texas,
and
right?
there's one in between,
Yeah,
Dallas,
Texas. Yeah.
Texas. Yeah, so I did four in a row after a lackluster finish in Atlanta, and being exposed to best of two format for the first time ever. Like, to me, it's still crazy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I definitely looked at it differently after Atlanta,
Yeah,
and did well.
and so you mentioned your success on Emerald Steel. Why are you so drawn to that color combination? What makes you so successful on it?
So it's not necessarily emerald steel in the sense that like I like these two colors. It's emerald is the discard color,
Yeah.
the discard package, and I think one of the things that make, or one of the aspects of this game that makes Lorcana difficult is inking.
Mm-hmm.
And you could ink the wrong card at the wrong time and so forth. Discarding is like an extra version of inking, right? You
Right.
have to make another decision. And this game, there's no turn player, there's no interaction. So there's no turn player interaction or opponent interaction on your turn, where you actually open opponent interaction with discard. So it kind of adds another element to it. And one way I also like to view the game is if I don't know what I'm up against, I just do my best to discard them, and
Yeah.
I get to see what they're discarding, and it was definitely more impactful when there was like in a DLC event, for example. Like I might not be familiar with this color combo, or maybe like when the different versions of Mufasa was out, or different techs of certain colors. I get to see early, choose to discard, see what they're on, and it kind of helps me going into the next game. It just, to me, it has all the tools for being a good DLC deck. Like, to me, I call Steel the noob stomper. So it beats any of the aggro,
Yeah.
and the green gives me free information. Like, if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh player, like some of the best cards in the game were discard cards and get to see your opponent's hands.
Yeah.
So
Love me some trap dust
number one,
shoot.
yeah, trap dust shoot, forceful sentry, like duo
Yeah.
confiscation, and yeah, we get to do it for free.
Yeah.
So
So getting into your actual deck, what are some of the key deck choices you made at the start of set 7?
um, I it was really more how are the other decks going to react. So if
Mm-hmm.
you look at how Green Steel has been built since set 4, since Diablo, it's kind of been the same. Well, sorry, after Bucky, Toronto was kind of this missed format where I was the only one. There was another Green Steel that topped Toronto, but it was a little different. It was more of like a lot of one-ofs and off the shift line. And if you notice throughout, I guess from then on, the deck doesn't change too much. And
Right.
it just incorporates certain cards to deal with new problems. And I think originally a lot of people jumped on Green Steel with maybe Pirates or the aggro version. The last version to do well was Zans in set 6, where it was more the aggro, Muse Box, Dock type of deck.
Right.
And I think that gets eaten up by Steel, especially with Blue Steel now. Um, and I don't know. I just looked at some cards. I thought Pete is excellent. This deck is a little bit different from my day zero. I think this is version. I think it's version 3 that I sent you.
Yeah, version 3 up here.
Yeah, so I keep adjusting it to what I see in the meta. Originally, it was at 4 more. I think the shift line is strong. Um, but there's a lot of one-ups, and this is kind of like that Yu-Gi-Oh player in me. It's like, oh, I wouldn't mind having one of these just in case.
Right. And let
Um,
me tell you, as a Steel Sapphire player, this new Pete has been a menace to me.
yeah, like I could imagine, like I kind of want to go to 4, but I do like Tinkerbell still. It like my shift into the 4th Pete would probably be that Tinkerbell, because I think 2 beasts are kind of random, or 1 beast is kind of random, but
Yeah.
so is 1 muse. Like without having DLCs and access to those big US events, I can't really test this.
Right.
But I have played it online, and I played a version of this at a double case tournament last week, and didn't lose, and we just split out top 8, and that was a very good. The players in that tournament were very good, although it was small, like level 9001, Pandemonium, Shadow
Yeah.
Explosion.
The usual
They're all there. So
suspects, yeah.
yeah, like a really really strong store. So and yeah, the deck felt fine. I looked into the meta on what I wanted, and there was only I think a few additions here, which would have been Anna, just for a little bit more discard reach, and like got to deal with Big Tama.
Yeah.
More ways to deal with Big Tama.
And
Uh,
tell me about Crikey. I've never actually seen him in an Emerald Steel list before.
so I play. This is a shell of my Continentals list, and my Continentals list felt perfect into everything. And it's gonna sound stupid. Why would I build this deck? Everything except red blue.
Yeah.
But red blue felt very splittable with the way I was approaching that matchup. And Cricky was a good race card. Um, but it was more to deal with. At the time, there were more locations, and I was on Calhoun's, so I wanted to be able to take out all the diggy locations. Um, and yeah, I started well at Continentals with this. I split with red blue. I 2-0'd my next round. I think I started one one win, 2 splits. And after the lunch break, I paired into I think which was the worst matchup. I only expected one or two players to be on Sapphire Steel there.
Yep.
And I played Vegas and got 2-0'd by Vegas, and then played the remaining of the tournament as all the red blue players. So
Yeah. So kind of
and then
unlucky in those matchups for sure.
yeah, it sucks. And when you just don't want to play that matchup, regardless of it being Continentals, I was just like not enjoying. So really lackluster finish.
Got it.
But,
Um,
Crikey's meant for challenging big boards. We have a lot of guys that straight up, and when people try to take advantage of the quest, we can actually take them all. Because Green Steel is very passive. It should play passive because you need to save your guys for like questing with your guys early. If they're not safe, you drop the strength of your raging fires and extra reach on sudden chills.
yep.
Like, like you can't just freely quest. You don't want to give them up. And uh, Crikey is also, I think, with Smee, I found Pete to be a nightmare in the mirror, and Pete is one of those cards that freely quest. So Crikey coming down, making Smee tradable is actually really, really big there.
Oh
And
yeah.
Anna is also there to snipe the Pete off as well. So, because that card wins the mirror. The amount of times I've been ahead and a Pete just comes down and I can't catch up, or vice versa. Pete just can't, like, I know just in the mirror, Pete can carry, doesn't matter, like, if there's a Diablo that didn't get answered immediately.
Right.
So it's just extra answers there.
Got it.
And
Okay. What do you say we jump into some alteration simulations with this list?
cool, yeah. Hopefully we
Well,
get a bunch of Diablo shit. So
yep,
are
that's
we
the name
going
of the game.
into different matchups?
Yeah, so we'll start blind on the play here, and then we'll go into blind on the draw, and then move into the popular matchups of the current format.
Flying on the play in set 7, I would ship everything except Diablo.
Yeah, and I'm guessing it's kind of similar, where we really want to be shifting Diablo every game.
Yeah.
This is kind of a rough one.
Yeah, this is. I mean, these are the hands. You get hands
Yeah.
like this. And that's the trade-off with having so much power.
Right.
Is you get really really clunky looking hands like this.
Yeah, this is a hand I would love to play against whenever I'm on my Emerald or on my Sapphire Steel deck. So
Yeah.
that so I like doing this because I did an episode last week and we just saw like the perfect curve outs and alterations every time. So it's finally good to actually see like a bad one and kind of walk me through what you would actually do in the first couple turns of a hand like this.
So turn 1, Cricky has to go into the Inkwell,
Mm-hmm.
and it really depends on what you're up against. Like I
Right.
might not care to drop Diablo on 3, but sometimes it's fine. It's fine to drop Diablo on 3, even if Ursula double seeing is strong.
Right.
Right? You need to find ink here because we only have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we only have 4 inkable cards, and I think in a lot of time, well, depending on where it is, Muse is one of those cards that could help you swing back for being.
Right.
So you have a lot of comeback mechanics in on board with Ursula and Muses. So yeah, I mean, it really depends what you're up against.
Yeah. So this one I would proclaim is probably going to be a loss if they start with like kind of an average against it. But let's go ahead and move on to another one of on the draw blind.
Just keep baby Diablo.
I'm sensing a theme here. All right, so this
There we
one's
go.
much better.
There we go.
So I think the one piece you'd be missing is since you're on the draw would be Ursula 2. But other than that, this looks like a hand you'd be happy to get pretty much every match, right?
Yeah, like Ursula 2 just opens up like a really weird. Like I almost don't want Ursula 2 and rather find the shift target. But I guess with more steel out there, um, like I would have to play this differently on the draw if it's Sapphire Steel without Ursula 2. I mean, I wouldn't shift Diablo on 2. I'd shift it on 3 with
Gotcha.
summoning Ursula or waiting to find Pete.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I think you can put a lot of fear in them by not necessarily having Ursula 2 and go Diablo 1, see they have a song. Turn 2, don't shift, play more, and force out the song
Yep.
to deal with one of the 2.
Yeah. See, and that's the kind of heads up play that gets you to top 4 DLCs in a row. It's everyone wants to just shift it right away, and so sometimes you do have to be patient like that. Okay, so let's go into the most All right, the next simulation we'll go into is Sapphire Steel on the play, and let's say it's the Zan Oswald Queen version he's been on recently.
In this hand, I would keep both Ursulas and send everything else back.
Gotcha. And what's the reason for keeping these Ursulas here?
Because they're gonna stick. It'd be very difficult for him to clear both. Well, deal with three health,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to double sing and see what they have. Like I guarantee I'll draw a certain combination of songs before Ursula 3 gets to sing,
Yeah.
and we don't obviously. Okay.
But you'll have
But
3 or 4 draws to get there, so.
yeah, I mean we will find it, and even opening Diablo 1 is pretty cool here because it gives us that opening for a later shift. Um, but yeah, sucks that we didn't find the song here, but I would
Yeah.
still. Both Ursulas are super, especially on the play, like super sticky and very difficult for that deck to deal with, especially since there's no one cost character and they can't just um, strength you and take it off the board. Like, and the way I approach this matchup is to have as many Ursula threes on the board as possible,
Right.
just ready to go.
Right. And that's exactly right, because that's how I've been losing a lot, is to the Ursula singing the storms a lot more than the Diablos.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll say Zan Oswald deck on the draw.
On your draw, I'm keeping Little Diablo and Ursula.
And you're getting rid of the morph because it's just going to get sniped by every song, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a consideration to keep Morph if um, I had another Diablo, if I had Big Diablo already. So yeah,
Uh,
I mean, this is a pretty decent hand in this matchup where even if you're going second, even if your Little Diablo gets sniped right away, you're just gonna create the Ursula discard line with John,
right.
and then Big Diablo won't get summoned till like maybe the fifth turn.
Got it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think this one is a very good on the draw hand for you to come back and stabilize and take the game pretty quickly away, especially with being against a deck that has 0 answers to Prince John.
Yeah, you just have to understand that you're not playing a two drop. Smee's your first ink.
Yeah.
Like the Smee wouldn't do anything here, and you'd have to be willing to ink a card next turn and not play anything if your Diablo gets sniped.
Right. Okay, let's move on to our next altar with Ruby Sapphire on the play, Sisu on ice version.
Okay. On the play, I mean, thank you for this hand.
We got
On the
one.
play, on the play, I'm keeping Diablo, Chill, John Hypnotize, and Storm actually. Oh no, let me see. Am I keeping Storm and just sending Muse? And then what am I looking for versus Sisu? Sisu on ice with Coil, obviously, right?
Obviously, yep, of course.
Yeah, I think I might even. This might be a full keep just because of ink. I'm
Yeah,
gonna include this first. It's gonna be a full keep because there's nothing that's gonna make my hand that much better. Um, yeah, because first turn would be Muse Ink, Diablo look at their hand. I can find out if there's gonna be. Yeah, no, this hand is great into that matchup.
yep. This is giving me flashbacks of Seattle when my bubble match game 2, the Emerald Steel player laughed and said Mole Zero.
Oh.
That's the scariest moment in Lorcana right now is when an Emerald Steel player says Mole Zero.
Yeah, I'm on 0.
Okay, so that one should be a pretty straightforward, easy win for you.
Yeah.
So let's go same deck, Ruby Sapphire on the draw. So we're kind of close, but we're missing some
Yeah.
pieces.
On the draw, I'm still looking. So on the draw, like the approach is a little different. Is we're leaning heavier into discard because
Mm-hmm.
it's one less card to deal with. In this hand, I'd probably ship everything but Diablo.
Both Diablos, or
No, I'd keep one. I'd
yep,
keep one, and then ship it, and then see. I mean, I don't. I honestly don't truly hate this hand because seeing sudden chill.
yeah,
The only problem is now Ursula 2 is weaker because you've seen um, B preps being cut. I think they're still on how far I'll go.
yep.
Are
Some
they?
are.
Or
Some are.
some
Depend.
are.
It's been fading recently, but some are still on it, and then the DKP list is still on it. So,
Yeah.
but we're against the Coil Sisu on Ice list, so some of them have it, and it's like a 2 or a 3 of if they do.
Yeah, these are one of those games where you're happy you drew that first hand because you split this matchup. So
Yeah, yeah, understood. Um, all right, let's go into uh, Steel Song on the play. The Miss Bianca has been getting popular in the Steel Song lately.
on the play steel song, I'm shipping John and a chill. Yeah, I mean, great hand.
Yeah, and so walk us through the first couple turns here. Obviously, it's going to be like Diablo
Yeah,
into.
so Diablo, and the reason I keep Smee is I need to keep stuff in check.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because this deck is the way I play is I'm slow with questing, and I don't quest till I'm safe. And Smee just makes sure that like if Daisy comes down and they start questing, which they shouldn't, I get a free check. I could check a Calhoun. Um, yeah, it's just pressure on the board.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I think you take this one pretty easily unless they get some aerial shenanigans and just outsing you. But this hand looks pretty solid.
Yeah,
Let's go Steel Song on the draw.
just on the draw. I think I'm just keeping Smee. Let me see. Turn to Steel Song. I'm gonna keep. I might consider keeping Morph here.
I assume you're keeping Diablo as well.
Yeah, and Diablo. Um, the version of Steel Sun right now is more of like a boomy steel or whole new world regular.
They're more like there's both, but it's a lot of the boomy steel. There's been some like location ones too, but we'll say no whole new world.
No whole new world, right? So the other thing I asked, did I win game one?
We won that last game with that hand, right?
We
Yeah.
won that
So
last game.
yeah,
I would risk this keeping Morph shift line just for a big comeback,
right.
just to swing it. So yeah, because I'm looking for Pete here, Pete and shift. Oh, there you go. I'll take that too.
Mm-hmm.
So the other way is like if we didn't draw this perfect hand after, I don't mind turn 2 morph if they don't go turn 1 Cindy.
Right.
by giving me an opportunity to go turn 3 if I find I'm really digging for Pete, is Pete or Ursula too on 3 with shifting Diablo to protect it for an extra turn.
Yeah.
But if I see Diablo 1, I'm gonna ink the morph and go Diablo into Smee. So it's the same way as game 1 was playing out, just building the board.
Got it. Yeah. Let's see about Amethyst Steel on the play. A pretty low to the ground deck with the Cobras.
Oh, now Cobras, and they're only on strengths, right? They don't play strengths and Zeus, or not even Zeus.
Um,
Let me see.
let's see.
It's so funny, like when you give me different colors, because the way I build all these colors are so different from what's actually popular.
Right.
And my colors are probably like my version's probably not great, but I just like to like as how I built this deck, I build them really differently. I just feel I wish I had more time to play.
4 Zeus is and 4 strength.
Or Zeus for strength.
In the rabbit version, and the dock version is just 4th strength, no Zeus. We'll say we're on the dock version, which has been having more success.
I'm gonna look at R2's PS dock list that I see here.
Gotcha. Okay.
Similar to that?
Sure.
I don't know if you. Okay, so I'm on the play.
Yep.
On the play R2. Yeah, I'm keeping Diablo Morph and Tinkerbell and Smee. So I'm letting everything else go. Just the 2 songs from John. I like this.
Yeah. And just kind of for the viewers, what kind of decisions are you making differently if you see that they have 4 Zeus and 4 strength versus not having 4 Zeus? Like, what kind of goes into the alterations there in your decision making?
For this one, I just want to try and make them have the hard cast stuff, so keep them off the board. But in all reality, just knowing when their cards turn live, and for example, strength, I need to find ways to pick at the board without necessarily attacking. And Tinkerbell is just one of those cards. Like Tinkerbell is in this deck for that matchup, and I can't let it go.
Right.
So it's like, do I dig for it or I already found it? So I'm gonna try and threaten it every time, and being able to see what they have with Diablo, I can find out if I want to play Ursula on turn 2 or on turn 3 with Morph by having Morph there. So
Right. Got it. Okay, and so that being said, let's move into the same deck on the draw.
on the draw.
Amethyst Steel on the draw.
Little Diablo. So this is where obviously Tinkerbell doesn't. I want Tinkerbell in this matchup, but I don't need it because I don't have its partner already.
Right.
So I don't already have the early cheat out for Morph. So I'm gonna keep Diablo, and I'm gonna keep Smee.
All right.
Yeah, and this could be a game. Really,
Yeah.
depending on like having the 1/2 ensures that on turn 3 either they're not questing, and they would have to turn for your Ursula.
Mm-hmm.
Deal with the Ursula, or else you're just going.
To win on the spot with the double storm.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. I love the ones like these that just sort of kind of play themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take this game. I mean, we only really have one line here.
Yeah.
Green Steel's kind of like that. It's like you have, and you're kind of playing into your hand.
Yeah.
Green Steel's such like, I hate to say it, like a Yu-Gi-Oh deck where you play your hand. Like, all right, well, I guess this is what this game is going to be today, where every other deck can still play into their game plan,
Yeah, you have to be very good
and
at
that's why.
adapting here and thinking on the fly to what you've been given.
Yeah, it's more tactical thinking than strategic thinking. Like strategy, we already have everything set up for certain matchups, but tactically, whatever's thrown at us, we have to adapt.
Right.
And I guess a lot of decks are like that, but this deck is very heavily, this color is very heavily into that.
Okay, I think we have time for one more. Are there any decks you want to highlight alterations against?
I think the Chernadog deck, right? I mean,
The Churn a
same as
Dog.
Chernadog is green yellow, hyper aggro
Yep. Let's go into that.
on the play.
On the play.
Because of Tramp, I'm gonna keep Cove and Little Diablo and send everything else back.
Keep Cove.
And I don't normally keep the Cove, but it's the only deck that's still running Kit and a lot of there's two Coves,
Oh,
so it's shipping.
missed one. Yep.
I'm looking for just the shift line here. But again, Cove is very good at challenging their characters.
All right. So how would we kind of go about our first couple turns here?
I mean, turn one in that matchup, Pete won't do anything, but I still wouldn't ink it right away. I would. Let me see. Yeah, I would go possibly ink a Bruno, play a Diablo, but you run the risk of. I mean, the Storm's not going to get played anyways before Ursula 3 unless you find. The only way we get punished in this sense is if we draw a Diablo shift next turn and we didn't ink a song in the beginning. They can shoot it with Ursula without us playing. So, yeah, I think the way it's always going to be ink Bruno first. Ink Bruno first, play Little Diablo, and then next turn, whatever you draw, ink the other Diablo, play Cove. I'm not necessarily inking the second Diablo on turn one because if I need to build a board to challenge, the homies in the Cove are good in that matchup,
Right.
regardless of what.
Yeah, the Cove can sometimes just be such a nuisance.
Yeah, like Bruno's gonna be hard cast in this match. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna ink it early.
Right. All right, let's go the same deck. The Chernadogs on the draw.
Yeah, I mean I like this. Keep ship both Pete's. Ship the. I think I'm keeping the Bruno and shipping the other two. So no, I might need to keep a song on the. So they go Ursula 3 first. I would keep the chill because I want the strength in deck.
Yep.
Actually, turn two, placing. They didn't. They're gonna deal with the raging fire. Like I might actually, you know what? I'd keep all songs and send both Pete's.
And are we keeping the morph?
Yeah, more for sure. Let me just consider turn one, ink Bruno. Just say we draw all uninkables. Turn two, play morph, ink. Yeah, I like this. Ship both Pete's. Keep the rest of the songs.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with this. Anytime I see a shift Diablo with the song to deal with any pressure, I'm okay with. And Cricky's one of those cards that I don't think I ink. Interesting, because I like to keep it in this matchup to race back to catch everything again. But when we're on the draw, it's just too slow.
Right.
It'll come a turn too late.
Right. Yeah, and then this is the type of deck that snowballs quickly, and so if you're fighting from behind, you're not in a winning position, and so.
Yeah, you need to find the like Diablo shift is the catch up mechanic in this matchup,
Right.
which is again in many matchups.
Yeah, sometimes you just drop the bird and they can't kill the bird, and the game's over.
Yep.
um, well, Dale, this has been very enlightening for me. I appreciate your time giving us some alteration advice on Emerald Steel. Is there anything you would like to plug before we wrap things up here?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to World Class Cards, my sponsor. Uh, the best team out there right now. Some of the best players that are have been dominating this game since day one. DKP, Zane, Kurt, Logan. Like there's tons. There's everyone to name, and a lot of them are going to be here this weekend. Um, or there's a lot of events that they're always at, and I hope to join them soon. It's hard for me to get time off when
Right.
it's not a DLC, but I'm definitely gonna do my best to reach out there. They do have their founders club that I think only has a few more spots left. Um,
Oh yeah, definitely plug that. It's going to be worth your money. I myself signed up for
yeah,
that.
yeah. I see the Discord all the time, and starting to get more members and more traction. And yeah, when we get a bit more, when there's more activity, a lot of us like to be involved. So
Yeah.
more press cards, and I wanted to plug the homies at SLTC. These guys make the game great, just like my team. They're pretty much family. Everyone's family. Everyone's great
Yeah.
there. And then my Card Masters Rebirth homies from again actual family there. So
All right. Well, Dale, it's been a pleasure. I'm finally glad that we got to work together on something after all these years of knowing each other in cards. I remember my first SGC in Chicago. You actually won it. I think like I got 18th. Matt Petal got like 10th or 11th or something. And it's like,
yeah,
so that first time I saw your name up on the charts at an event, I was like, holy crap, the gang's getting all back together. So it's great to see all these old Yu-Gi-Oh names, Love and Lorcana, and it's just been great to see after all these years and whatnot. So appreciate your time. Hope to see you continue to dominate, and hopefully you can get to Worlds on this next DLC circuit and continue to dominate the competition as you have for the better part of 2 decades.
yeah. I'm hoping 2025 is the year because if there's an event in October this year, I'm hoping to go because that would be 20 years from when I won Chicago.
Oh yeah, and
So that would be pretty cool to win something this year and in October. And if Chicago, I'm sure we'll have another DLC. Winning that one would be great.
yeah, and hopefully I can actually go to the Chicago if they have one,
We
because
should
the
go.
last one was about 20 minutes from my house, and I was busy that weekend, unfortunately. But
Yeah, you only came to Atlanta, and then I didn't see you till
Seattle, yeah,
Seattle. Yeah, or
a
Seattle.
lot of weddings. I'm not a very busy person. A lot of weddings on all the DLC dates except for those two.
Insane.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it lines up better this year.
Yep. Hopefully so.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time, viewers. This has been Alter Academy. We'll see you all next week.